Hey guys, we're out here in the garden and today we're going to be getting rid of all our beets and I'll be pickling those later. But I wanted to give you guys an overview of how my garden kind of went this year, even with Hurricane Laura coming through, tearing up all my seedlings, having to restart pretty late. We don't really get a whole lot of real cold weather down here. So starting them in, I guess it was about mid-September, October, they've lasted all the way through January. Nothing really died. And my cabbage did really, really well. We'll see what these beets look like once we pick them up. But yeah, I'll give you guys an overview and show you guys exactly what I had going on here and let you guys see that. All right, so this is my first 4x4 bed. This is was planted all in mustard greens, two different varieties. I kind of packed them in a little bit too tight. I have my little quick connect there at the end that kind of goes through my entire garden. You can kind of see it pop up inside the beds. What I did was I just dug trenches. You can't see it with all the clover here, but there's a trench here and they just pop up on each corner so that I can plug it in once, go out, and then not have to worry about it while I take care of my quail or mow the grass or something. Now, I did go ahead and put these little sprayers. Now, I'm going to change that. I'm not going to take these out, but I'm going to change it to the little drip tubing just because when the cauliflower or whatever gets this big, the spray really doesn't work. So I need something to get underneath there. So yeah, that was the mustard greens. I probably cut them back 4 times, 5 times, and they just keep coming. It's nice. This was my cauliflower. They're just now starting to get to a size where I'd like to pick them. So this one is probably 7 inches across. That one's probably about the same. It's a little bit bigger plant. And then I had a cabbage from my cabbage bed that I ended up moving over here just because of space. So yeah, that was this. And then if you go down here, this is all my beets. So we're going to be picking all these beets today. I got a few of them in there that are really nice size. A bunch of them are real small. And I had some buttercup lettuce that was on this side. But I don't think I'm going to be mixing plants too much anymore. With all the compost I use and everything, the plants just get way too big. And then I have my Brussels sprout bed. This is the only thing I would consider a failure this year. These Brussels sprouts really didn't produce a whole lot. And if you look down here, you can see that the ones that came out first, they didn't really ball up. Now these feel solid right here, but the rest of them didn't really ball up. You see these plants, they really don't have any going on. And then I got this weed in here. I don't know what it is, but when I get all these Brussels sprouts out of here, we're going to be digging up this bed because there's runners all throughout in there that just pops up those weeds. So I got to get that out of here. Now this is probably the best bed. This is the one I had with a lot of horse manure compost and everything was going on. And you can see how big this cabbage is. See, my hand is, I don't have the biggest hands, but that's a big cabbage. And I just cut them all back where I pick them at. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cabbages in here. I used 4 of them. And I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I might make more kimchi. I might. Alright, let's get to picking. Alright, so I got a bucket. Try not to mess these up too bad. Yeah, that's pretty good right here. Throw all these in a bucket and we'll do a recap at the end. Alright, so my bucket's not nearly tall enough, so I gotta go get some snips and I'm gonna cut the tops off while we do this. Alright, we got our snips, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut them off a couple inches on the top. I heard that makes them so they don't bleed so bad. And then I'll use this little tray. I'll use this tray to wash off the dirt, and then we bring them inside after we clean them all up. But so far we got some pretty nice sized ones. They're looking pretty good. Bruce is kind of sniffing around eating a bunch of grass, gonna make himself sick later. But he'll be alright. Alright, so this is the process I'm gonna go through. This one didn't grow at all. Yeah, so I'll just catch you guys when I'm done cutting all these, and we'll get them washed up, and I'll probably turn it back on. Alright, so this is the garden all cleared out. It's my dog Bruce. And we got some clearing of weeds to do, and we'll do the same thing with that drip tubing on this one. We'll probably put 3 or 4 of them through that big piece on the end where my clippers are. But yeah, this is what we got. I tried to cut them off about 2 inches from the actual tuber. And then if you look at this one's pretty good size. Bruce likes it too, look at that. And I got a few that size, and I got a few, most of them were around, I guess around this size. And I think that's pretty good. I've never grown beets before, but I think they came out all right. All right, so what I got going on here now is I'm having 2 pans of water. This will be for my smaller beets, and then this big pot, this will be for my bigger one. It can hold probably everything I have. That's not the super small ones. So we'll get those boiled, and I'll transfer them out to the sink here. Ice water, let them sit a little bit, maybe not, we'll see. And then yeah. All right, so you can see my size distribution here. I got my big ones down here and the mediums to smalls here. So what I'm probably gonna do is use the small bucket for this one, boil those up separately, and then use the bigger pot for this one. And that's what we got going on. All right, we got our beets in the water bath. They've been there for, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. Next step, we're gonna cut the tops off, cut the stems off, and cut the root. And then try to skin them and chop them up. All right, I wasn't gonna film this skinning process, but it's a lot easier than I expected. So if you boil them enough and you just run your finger right over the top of them, man, that skin comes right off. And you can see I'm not having any issues on this. Now on these bigger ones, it's a lot harder actually on these bigger ones than the couple I just did that are in the sink. But yeah, boil them, just boil them, make sure you boil them enough. Put them in some cold water, and the skin just peels right off. You just run your hands over it. Pretty easy. I'll show you a smaller one, which is probably a lot easier. Some people said you could do this. Yep, look at that. Just comes straight off. So I'll finish doing these, and then we'll go ahead and cut the stems off and all that all at one time. All right, we got our brine heating up. As soon as it comes to a boil, I'll start filling up my jars. Since the brine's going to be boiling hot and the jars will heat up from that brine, I'm not concerned at all about popping those jars when we put them in the boiling water on the left. Once they're all filled up, I'll wipe the tops to get a good seal, hand tight them, and then put them in the boiling water for 15 minutes at a rolling boil. And that'll be it. This brine is kind of a mixture of a bunch of recipes I found. I've never done this before. So it's going to be a cinnamon stick, some pickling spice, honey, apple cider vinegar, regular vinegar, and a mixer of water. Everything about a 1/3 ratio as far as the liquids go. All right, so beets are done canning. I had them in this bucket of water boiling for about 15 minutes. At that time, I turned the heat off, let it stop boiling, and then took them out, and I placed them on a dishcloth. And we'll let them stay here for probably the rest of the day. Let them cool down. Let them seal up real good. You can see all the vacuum happening right now. But yeah. So that's what I had going on today with my pickled beets and cleaning up the garden a little bit. Oh, one already popped. Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll get it on the next one.